This is Robbie Illuminati, the motherfucking op killer, and your eyes, ears, mind, body, and soul are checking out the 3 Count Podcast.
Hit him with a 3 count. Pin him to the ground and the crowd go wild, man down, know what y'all like. Hit him with a 3 count. On the top row, crowd already know how I fly him to the floor like. Hit him with a 3 count. And your boy real chicka real nice.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. No, I am not Chaz. That's not what I am. That's not who I do, and that's not the things I'm going to say. So I'm not your uncle, your nephew, your brother, your father, or whatever else things he says. But I am the man who runs shit. I do shit because I try to do everything that is part of this podcast. You know me as Clifford Red Dawg Miller, and things may look a little different, and there's a reason for that because, all of our guys currently are, they're taping right now. So we had to go out and scour the rest of Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok themselves to find us a person who wants to jump on the show because, I like to do that. But our man who's joining us today, you guys see him right next to me. He is the man himself. Call him the king of Vlogstyle, David Edge. What's up?
It's true. I really am. I'm the king. No one else can take that away from me. I thought of it. Bam. That's right. What's up, you guys?
Yo, I'm so hyped that you decided you wanted to come on and talk with us. And since, the 3 Count Podcast, normally we actually, we've had a few things happen on our show. So we didn't have a show last week because it was Memorial Day. And me being a veteran, I wanted to, honor our soldiers who had fallen. But then this week, so you guys notice Lou's not a part. And the reason why Lou's not a part is because he just had a daughter. So big ups to Lou. Yeah, congratulations to him. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, well, thank you for your service and congrats to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then last but not least, Chaz, Prince, you guys know all the rest of the group of guys. They're all taping right now. So I'm definitely happy for those guys. I'm glad that they're doing their thing. So guys, keep tearing it up. I know you guys will be popping in and talking to us. So it is what it is at this point. But so let's get into some of these intros and outros and these announcements that we have going on. So if you guys are looking to pick up a 3 Count Podcast t-shirt, you guys can actually see it's that guy right there, or let's see, that guy right there. ProWrestlingTees.com. You guys know what to do. Find the 3 Count Podcast. You guys can just go search that, buy a shirt, and talk to us there. You guys can find all of our material, all of our social media stuff at 3 Count Pod, or even at 3Count_pod on Twitter. Come talk to us there. You guys check out all the news articles that we post out pretty much every day. I didn't post one up today though. So yeah, but pretty much every day you can check out all the stuff that we do for the 3 Count Pod on TikTok, Instagram. You guys can check us out on Facebook, kind of wherever you guys want. And then you guys can check out our YouTube streams like you are right now, or even if you go to youtube.com/the 3 Count Podcast, you can check out this show later on that channel as well. So with that being said, let's just hop into these debate topics. But the first thing we're going to get into is we're going to get a match of the week. So Dave, I got to ask you, man, out of all the wrestling that we kind of been talking about, do you have a match of the week?
I actually do. And most of you guys are going to be caught off guard with this one. I was just looking into it. So I haven't been able to keep up with a lot of wrestling that's been going on with the major promotions, but there was one promotion that I got to check out because it happened to be free on YouTube yesterday. And actually, it was not yesterday. It was actually this past Friday. It was a women's match. It was like pretty much a no holds barred match. It was Holodead versus Masha Slamovich. And literally, it was great. They went all out using anything that was just in sight. Any chair that someone was sitting on, they took it and used it. They used they put themselves through tables. It was a good 20-minute match. And it was incredible. Like, it makes me love women's wrestling more than I already do. And it's if anyone was wondering, if you guys want to check that match out, it's free on YouTube. Just look up Hybrid Wrestling and you should be able to find the whole free event. It's a 2.5-hour event you guys can check out, which also has main event G Raver versus Gangrel. So check that out, please.
I saw a preview of that match. That was pretty wicked. Like, I saw like some highlights from Gangrel's match. I was like, oh man, it's like, I'm glad I'm not in that position right now.
Yeah. I'm very happy that a lot of these companies are doing free events on YouTube. So very thankful for that.
And it makes it so much fun to like be able to sit back and watch, and then you get to enjoy and you get to see some of the new talent before they become like huge talent. So yeah, I definitely agree. I'm very hyped seeing the things that play out. So I'm gonna get into my match,
especially with Holodead.
Oh yeah, Holodead is such a great talent. Like, I think people like they're really sleeping on her, and when she gets signed to somewhere, wherever, they're going to be like, oh, why didn't we sign her sooner?
Yeah, hopefully soon.
All right. So for my match of the week, we're gonna keep it kind of simple. If you guys are checking out Double or Nothing, the Young Bucks versus Moxley and Kingston. They're on my list. It's pretty much generic. I like the match. I love the dynamics. But as you guys know, whenever I put out a match, it's usually on my honorable mention. So that's my first honorable mention match before we get into the Red Dogs Power Rankings. So some of the announcements really quick that I do want to throw out there is that if you guys are linked up to the youtube.com/2count podcast, or even just check us out on anchor.fm or any of your favorite podcasting sites, you guys will see that this week you guys are going to get 3 brand new interviews. So you guys are very welcome for that because, I love you guys and I really want to give you guys as much as I can. So we're going to have Big Game Leroy is going to be a special guest on Now Entering the Ring. You're also going to be getting Vanity on the 9th. And then on the 10th, you're going to be getting SCWA. So a promotion that I work for out here in Maryland, but actually from West Virginia. But yeah, so you guys get those interviews and they're a lot of fun. All of those guys are really great. And I just can't wait. So you guys could check those out. So the 8th, 9th, and 10th, you guys will be getting interview after interview after interview for Now Entering the Ring. Now that we got all of our great announcements and our matches of the week, let's get into our debate topics. Our first debate topic, we're going to be talking about it because it's probably the biggest news to come out of wrestling other than, Double or Nothing. These WWE releases have happened, right? We know Braun Strowman was one of them that was released. Lana was released. Ruby Riott was released. Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, and I feel like there's one more that I'm forgetting.
Santana Garrett.
Santana Garrett, that's right. So all of them were released, and it's not really a debate topic about like where they're gonna go. I mean, where they go is where they go. I'm not really worried about that part. I know some people are like, everybody should go to AEW, and I'm like, I don't agree. Maybe one or two, but I just think like the whole roster going over is a mistake. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how I'm really feeling about this. I know like the business is talking about budget cuts always, but for like the last 3 weeks, like 4 weeks, I think it's been about 4 weeks. That's all they've been citing was budget cuts, but really you kind of like see something else brewing in the water. I know a lot of people have been rumored about saying that there's like a huge sale of possibly with like NBC or with Disney or Fox, just kind of whoever they want to talk about. But I just kind of want to get your opinion, Dave, on what you think about some of the releases.
It definitely budget cuts is what I like to call a total lie. Just because from what I've seen especially during the pandemic in 2020, WWE had their most profitable year because of it. There is a reason. This is just me. I could be wrong. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure they're trying to pretty much just cut whatever whatever money they were spending to make it look like, well, we're not spending a lot of money, but look at how much money we're making for not spending a lot. It's a kind of a spending to like, money making ratio they're trying to. I feel like they are trying to sell, and I think NBC might be it.
Yeah, it's funny because I listen to the quarterly calls whenever they're on, and I know like a lot of people are like, why would you do that? I don't know. I'm just a sucker for pain. But I like to listen through, and they're always talking about how they're like, because they have the Thunderdome is like year over, quarter after quarter to like bring in more money, and then they start releasing more talent and to bring in their bottom dollar looks good. And you're right. Like I think NBC does make the most sense because they've had the longest relationship with them. I know I had a random person on TikTok actually tell me that no company should own wrestling like WWE. I was like, well, if you're not watching ROH, they're kind of owned by Sinclair. Like it is a thing. But it's kind of eye-opening to see so many talent go, especially like someone like Braun, right? Who like it was rumored earlier this week that Vince had said that he was like obsolete, right? Because they had, a Commander Aziz and they had Omos. So really like Braun was kind of like the out. But I was like, but this is a place of giants. Like you at one time had Kane, Taker, Giant Gonzalez has been through there, Big Show. So you've always had those taller kind of wrestlers. It's like, it's not like he wasn't like ever not going to fit in. I don't know. It's just weird to me to hear that Braun got cut. But then people were talking about how much money he was making. And I was like, well, if you're not using him, yeah, that's probably for best. Like 1.2 mil was like a rumor that I heard. And I was like, yeah, you might want to cut that. Cause I can understand like that might bring your bottom number even further down.
Yeah, it was definitely I felt like, yeah, they didn't have really anything for him, and it is a thing of like, well, we're spending a shit ton of money on this dude, but we have no clue what we want to do with them. So why are we keeping him? Let's save our money and just let him go.
Yeah, and then but see, like in the same token too, like they were talking about we have like the Fiend and we have I forget there was another spooky character, right, that they were talking about, but Aleister Black really didn't fit in as well, so that's why they let him go. I was like, but his like Bliss and the Fiend. I was like, but his
Mhm.
spookiness is like a different type of like fear, because it's like a dude who legitimately is like, I will come get you and kick your ass. Whereas like the Fiend is more kind of like that monster that just gets brought out every once in a while. Well, he's supposed to get brought out every once in a while, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. But like Fiend, like you see Aleister Black come out and he's not only calling his shot, but he's hitting every single shot. And it's just weird to see like they didn't have anything for him. They didn't have anything for Buddy Murphy, who, let's be real, 2 years ago when he was with Mustafa Ali and they were on 205, they were just tearing the house down. And then you brought him to Raw, and he was still putting get banger matches. And everything you threw at him, like he was taking and running with it. And so eventually you're just like, well, we don't really know what to do with you since we had you date, Aaliyah Mysterio, and now we're just gonna cut you. I'm like, whatever. I was like, I think that's a talent, and I will put this out there. I think it's a talent that he should go to AEW, because I feel like his work rate is just fits right into what everybody else, and I think he could be a killer like in that promotion.
No, I totally agree, and I hope I know a lot of people don't realize this because everyone always does the whole go to AEW thing, which I don't see it as a problem. Again, people need to start realizing that in professional wrestling, it is a job, and you are going to go somewhere where someone's going to be like, hey, I'm going to give you money to wrestle. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. It's always funny. And then the thing is, there are multiple options too. You have your Impact, you have your Ring of Honor, you have AAA, CMLL, you have like New Japan, All Japan. Like, you have all these options. You can go to the independent scene. The independent scene is still going right now. So it's always funny to watch people just go, oh, they're just going to go all to AEW. But I mean, the one thing I do want to praise AEW for is during this pandemic, they really did help out a lot with wrestlers. People always go, oh, Elevation's too long. It's just a bunch of random wrestlers on there. A lot of them are independent wrestlers. What Tony is doing for Dark and for Elevation is he's bringing independent wrestlers in that probably aren't wrestling that much on the independent scene because of the pandemic, and they're putting them out there and giving them like some kind of exposure, but also at the same time paying them when they know that they're having a hard time getting paid wrestling during this pandemic.
Yeah, super cool. I love watching Dark and Elevation for a couple of reasons, right? So we've had like a bunch of the wrestlers on Now Ancient Ring come to uh, that go to AEW Dark and Elevation. So it's kind of fun to see like Roman Rosell, Derek Pizzatoro, or two of the names I'll throw out there, as well as Waves and Curls, Jalen Brandon, and Trayvon. They've been on our show, so we've had a bunch of those guys on, and we've talked to them and just like had like a ball like doing all the interviews and stuff. So it's cool to see like you do an interview with somebody, and then like a few weeks later or a few months later, they pop up on Elevation or on Dark, and you're like, oh hey, like I love those guys.
Yeah, no, people like to think that like it's not doing anything, but so far 12 people that were not signed to AEW that did AEW Dark are now fully signed. One of the first was, I believe, was an old friend of mine, Will Hobbs. I used to film a lot of his stuff back in the day. I did an interview with him with my old podcast, and he became part of AEW. And then also Aaron Solo as well, who's also from my area as well, who also got signed.
Yeah, Will Hobbs is the man. I love watching Will Hobbs. He's still like, I just like the powerhouse style that he has. So he's definitely a lot of fun. And then, another person that I really enjoyed like watching like make their way up and make get a job with him essentially was Sean Dean, like the captain himself. Like I think he was like 0 for 36 or something like that. And then like he signed on. Like he became all elite, as like they would say. So it's definitely, yeah, there's definitely a lot of faces that I love like see them pop up because they're in there putting in the work and doing the things that they're supposed to do. And at AEW, they do reward those guys who do put in that work. So I definitely, like, very, very big ups to them. Another, and we're talking about other promotions and stuff like that. Like Impact is tearing the house down right now. Like I know a lot of people probably don't watch. If you guys get a chance to check them out on Twitch, go check them out on Twitch. It's free. Yeah, I mean that's like the best thing I can tell you. But yeah, Impact is tearing down the house. In fact, before the Impact, right, BTI, TJP and Josh Alexander had a Iron Man match, Chef's Kiss. It led right into Impact. It was so cool. And if you guys didn't get to check out, please go check out that match. I definitely one of those matches that may or may not have made the power rankings. I'm not gonna tell you where, but it was definitely cool. And I there's so much. And you're right. Like the indie scene is like starting to flourish again now that the pandemic is starting to release. Like I can see. I know for me myself and a bunch of guys here on the show. Like we're starting to get those bookings back, and we're starting to get out there. So I think you're going to see a lot of these great talents like signed everywhere, and I can't wait to see where Lana goes. Lana's the one person that I'm very interested to see where she lands because she's such a unique talent. And I say that in a sense that she's a model, she's an influencer, she's a wrestler, she's a great manager. If you need someone to put her, or you need her to put somebody over, she will. She did it for Dolph, and she not for Dolph. She did it for Miro. Rusev. She's this ball of energy that just makes people want to watch. And I can't wait to see where she lands.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think the best choice. I mean, I know I just said this. So I was going to contradict what I said. I would love for her to go to AEW because I think it would be cool to have them as a pair, but to see them as like a different type of like manager wrestler like unit instead of like the whole like because when they first started, it was the whole Russian gimmick. Even though Rusev Rusev was portraying as a Russian who was also from Bulgaria. So It was a little weird, but I mean, I would love to see how they react differently. That's my big thing. I want to see what they can come up with together on a different company with some control in their, career.
It's funny, man, because I remember watching when Rusev debuted in WWE. He was working a dark match with TJ Kidd. And my buddy and I were sitting in the chairs and we were like, who's this guy? And like, then he just beat the shit out of TJ. And I was like, I don't know who he is, but I kind of like what he's got. And then like, sure enough, like a few years later, here we are like talking about him, like I remember just him just showing up and doing like the stomp and everything. And I was like, I have no idea who this guy is, but yeah, it was great to see him debut. And now to see him as a TNT champion, and maybe he'll get a mouthpiece. He doesn't really need one now because he's obviously showing that he can cut great promos by himself. But to have the add-on with Lana would be kind of cool as well. I'm very curious because like the bigger problem too is that we have so much released talent from WWE that everybody wants them to go to AEW or to Impact or to ROH or to MLW. And some of those promotions just aren't going to be able to take them on because one, they might be asking for a high price, but two, the other problem is they have a full roster as well. So it's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a crazy time once everything starts picking up like 100%. Wow. I can't wait to see where everyone's going to go or to see where some people are not going to go. Cause even previous releases, sometimes after someone just gets released from WWE, sometimes we don't see them anymore that much. They just disappear. That's unfortunate, but again, it's how wrestling is. It's a business and you got to find a way to make money or just do something else.
Yeah. And the weird thing too, man, is like we're legit talking about these 6 releases that happened, but we're still not even finished talking about like the Iconics are still like not signed yet because obviously like the 90-day no complete clause. But it's like, damn, dude, like there's so much talent to WWE was just like we don't know what to do with you. We gotta go. You gotta go. And I'm like, why is that a thing? Like why did you guys keep these guys for so long? And then it was just like, bottom line, we gotta fix this. But it is what it is at that point. So we're gonna kind of try to keep this moving. We're gonna go jump into our second debate topic. Really, it's nothing special. It is everything special because this was about Double or Nothing. So we're gonna talk about the show itself and just kind of like overall thoughts. Like, I don't know, were you able to check out Double or Nothing?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I even I'm not gonna lie, the first hour I was driving while somewhat watching it. So I was like driving while glancing at matches and so bad. Don't do that, guys. I mean, unless you need to, but don't do it at all. It was honestly, I liked it. It was cool seeing like a full crowd. Uh, it's a little I got a little anxiety just looking at that everyone packed in there. But I mean, it's Florida. Florida does not believe, doesn't think that COVID exists at all. But I mean, that's on them. But I mean, it looks like it was a good time, and I honestly I loved it. It felt nice to watch a like a crowd in a pay-per-view show, especially for AEW.
Right. Well, you know what? It was funny because like the first thing I was like, man, check out that packed house. And one of my friends was like, and all the cases of COVID that's gonna happen. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
man. Let's just try to enjoy the show. Like, yeah, that could happen. It could be a thing, but let's just try to enjoy the show, man. Because like right now, Serena Deeb and Riho are tearing down the house in the buy-in match, and I was all about this match. I was like, dang, this is great. I was like, even the buy-in match had me all bought in. But I will agree, something that Chaz was talking about. By the end of the show, like you could tell the crowd was just burned out. Like they were trying to stay in it because it's the first event, it's wrestling, they get to see it firsthand. But you could tell like that crowd was dying out, and I was like, yeah, because there was probably a lot of high spots that people were just cheering about, and at the end you're just kind of like, can't keep going.
Also, but we have to remember there is one factor that could really burn out a crowd. They're in Florida. It was probably hot as hell. And I'll even admit, I went to WrestleMania 31 and it was hot. I want to say like I could feel my chest burning, my legs were burning. Like it can really kill you. Like it can really just like wear out your entire like enthusiasm for an event. So I mean that probably played into it a little bit. So I don't know if that ended up doing that as well.
Yeah, and I mean like, but when you have like get definitely heat exhaustion is real. I
Yeah.
think another part too would have been like the fact that you had Britt, you had Sting, you had Kenny, and then you had the Stadium Stampede, all back to back to back to back, and like I mean at that those four matches alone, right, like tore up the crowd because like here's Britt winning her first championship, and like, oh yeah, by the way, spoilers for you guys who didn't watch Double or Nothing and watch Dynamite, I don't know, anyway, but so Britt wins the championship, right, and like the crowd's hot for that, right, and then you have Sting, and there's that whole spot where Sting dives off and into Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, right, and then you go into, and I'm only picking moments out, obviously Orange Cassidy looking like he has the pin, and the crowd's going apeshit because they're ready. And then Don Callis pulls out the ref, and then the roll up from Kenny to Orange Cassidy. Then you're like, oh, and then you have the Stampede where you have Sammy Guevara come out of the back with Sean Spears. He hits the 630, and like the crowd goes crazy. And so like you just think like that's a lot of energy that you have to continually put out, and you're just like you're hyped with it because something that had Chaz had brought up was rearranging the matches, right, so that you could bring the crowd down so that they're okay for when you have the title matches happen. I was like, because if Sting and Darby Allin and Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky was supposed to be like that, hey, we're gonna bring you down match, it missed in a good way because that match was so good all around.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll use, I mean, I don't know if this is the best example, but I went to an event for championship wrestling in Hollywood, and it's a very pre-taped studio wrestling, and they do a lot of stuff where they do commercials in the beginning. They kind of get the crowd to do commercial stuff, they get them to do promotional stuff, anything like that. So what they'll do is they'll tell them like, oh, once we start cutting the commercial and everything, we need you guys to cheer for a minute straight, like constantly at that same level. Doing that for a minute is exhausting. So I totally understand how easy it is to like really exhaust people like that. But I mean, overall the event was really good. I did love that triple threat match. Honestly, I'm a very like unique wrestling fan. I love a lot of like gimmicks and comedy in my wrestling. Like a lot of people find me a little crazy that like some of my favorite wrestlers are not like you know, Drew McIntyre or like Bobby Lashley. It's like, oh, my favorite wrestlers are Orange Cassidy, Yano, and and Danhausen. So it's like, it's always funny. But like, I legit during that triple threat match, I legit felt like I'm not one for marking out, but like I legit thought Orange Cassidy could have won this match. Like I like legit believed like it was gonna happen. Like I almost fell out of my seat a little bit.
Well, like he cut that promo like at Dynamite, and you know, because like at first I was like, yeah, he's not gonna win. I was like, that's cool. Kenny's gonna retain. It is what it is. I was like, you know, I thought Pac was gonna take the fall, but it was like Orange cut this promo where he was talking about I'm the man who beat Chris Jericho twice, and like he was going to his accomplishments. I was like, you know what's crazy is I kind of believe Orange Cassidy's gonna win. Like I wanted to go for it. I was like, I gotta think. Because like we do if I had to pencil, right? So it's our prediction game. And I low key was like, yo, I kind of think Orange Cassidy's gonna win this. And I was like, I gotta think with my head though. I can't think with my heart. I was like, I gotta go with Kenny for this. But part of me wants to really see Orange Cassidy win because he was right. Like, yo, you did all these things. You've done all these things. You've like beaten certain some big players in the game. I was like, I really was like, yeah, I kind of think he's gonna win. And yeah. It was what it was, but I definitely the ride left me to believe just like you said, like I think he's gonna win.
Yeah, no, it's I legit did. I thought I was like, oh, he's there to take the pin, and then like I didn't think too much of it, and I was like during the match, I was like, oh shit, I was like, this is gonna happen. I was like, people are either gonna lose their minds like me, or people are literally gonna lose their shit and not be happy about this because of it's just based on how he is. Like a lot of people don't take him that seriously. Like he's there just for the entertainment purpose, not the, I guess, great wrestling, which is weird because he is an incredible wrestler. Like but it was a really good match. That was like my match of the night for me. And then the Stadium Stampede was really good as well. I like gimmick matches, so Stadium Stampede was definitely one of my favorites. And I kind of knew just because I think when they did the whole Stadium Stampede thing, they were thinking it was going to be like, oh, we could just do it the same way as like last year. But then since we have a full crowd, it's like, oh, okay, well, we definitely cannot end this match on camera that's not in the ring in front of people. So I knew it was going to eventually end where it was going to end. But I will admit at the last part of it, I mean, I'm glad Sammy won. It puts him over as like, you know, he's the future of that company. But I will admit it was a little weird that it randomly like became like just Shawn Spears and Sammy in the ring, and then it just kept going and going to the point where like I think we barely saw like Jericho and like MJF in the crowd for like a second before they Sammy and Shawn got into the ring. And then right when the pin ends, then everyone comes out, and I was just like, that's a little weird. I was like, I'd assume like randomly like they'd start popping in like an actual fight. Like it's supposed to be unpredictable, but it seemed a little weird that it was like, oh, no one's around anymore. Like they even like kind of ignored a little bit of like once Sammy and Shawn got into the ring, it's almost like they forgot about what was going on between MJF and Jericho. So that was just a little weird to me. But other than that, it was a great Stadium Stampede, and I hope we can get more of those because, again, I love those types of matches. Those are just so much fun.
I like the Stadium Stampede. I think the only thing I don't like about it though, and it's the same problem I have with WWE, it's like, okay, well this is our gimmick match. This is what we're gonna do every year on this pay-per-view, right? So far that's happened, and I want to say it's gonna be like that in the future. But the Stadium Stampede definitely has been now done twice in Jacksonville, both on Double or Nothing. And it's kind of like, all right, so we're going to continue to do this thing every year? Because if so, then we're going to have to find a new way to build to this event. And it's going to have to be over a longer term booking, right? So we're talking like 8 months worth of booking that you kind of like tease this point to where they get into a Stadium Stampede. Because when you go back to like, you know, like Hell in a Cell, right? Whenever Hell in a Cell comes around, it's not because two guys are such in a bad mood that they have to fight in a cell now. It's like, well, this is pay-per-view, so we have to put them in a Hell in a Cell. Like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally understand, and I think it would be even it'd probably be even harder to do as well, like just because they're so used to it being the Stadium Stampede match at at Daly's place, so it's like they have that kind of figured. They had that all figured out to do that match. So like to see them try to do it somewhere else, I don't know if they could do it, to be honest. I don't know if they could, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, it would definitely need a long-term booking, which is totally fine with me because that's what everyone does want, is a little more long-term booking in our wrestling.
Yeah. And then like it's funny though because like some people really don't see. It's one thing I've noticed too, like wrestling fan wise, and I don't want to put all of our fans out there because it's not all fans, it's just some fans. But like you want long term booking, but then you get mad about who's getting booked long term. Like one of my favorite stories that was booked long term that I don't think really people understood was that Adam Page legitimately bought a sit down lawnmower that he's been talking about for almost a year. And then it happened. People were like, well, why did you buy a lawnmower? Like, well, if you're not paying attention why he bought the riding lawnmower, you kind of missed the story. Like,
Oh man, I love that. I think for I know we are talking about Adam Page and the long-term booking. I feel like his long-term booking is still going on.
yeah.
Like I still feel it. I feel like it's still I still feel like it's coming from when he lost his chance at becoming the AEW champion, the first ever AEW champion. And I think it's building up still to maybe like in a good amount of time he'll eventually be on the top of the card and he'll eventually take that title. And honestly, they'll be able to make a good, nice little package of like the start to finish of how he eventually became heavyweight champion. And I'm gonna love that one day. I can't wait.
So I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this, and I'm not really worried about it. But when Adam first showed up to AEW, I was like, yo, I'm kind of excited. I kind of want to see what he's about. And I watched him in that event that happened in the UK. Russell Talk was hosting it. And then like him and Pac like had a match. And then I saw him come back and he did Double or Nothing. And I was, or not double, All Out, All In, whatever, All Out. And I was kind of like, I don't really, and I felt bad saying it, but I was like, I don't really see the big deal about Adam Page, right? And I wasn't with it, right? I was like, whatever,
Yeah.
He's nothing really special to me. But then I saw him at full gear, and I was like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. And then I saw like he was doing like the kind of like shakiness, and I was like, well, wait a minute, I think this guy's kind of like, I had to pull myself back, and I was like, oh, he's kind of like doing like this misguided journey. And then like slowly I found myself like, you know what, I kind of like Adam Page. And then finally I was like, you know what, I'm a Hangman Page fan. Like he won me over just through all the stuff that he was doing. And he did this monologue on BTE, and I was like, I am a fan of Adam Page now because of this. And so yeah, he's definitely if he can win, like I don't want to say if he wins someone like me because that just makes it sound pretentious, and that's not what I'm trying to be. But if someone like me who was very skeptical about him at first has turned over a new leaf, I can only imagine how many more fans like he's brought on through this journey. And yeah, you're right. When him and Kenny like first clash, or when they clash for that title, whatever, at All Out or Full Gear or Revolution, wherever they end up like meeting, I definitely can't wait to see that match run back.
Yeah, and I guess there's already proof of how over he is. Like I heard, like literally when they were opening match with Page and Cage, like you could hear how excited people were to hear Hangman Page's like theme. Like he's over. People really like this guy. And yeah, no, I went through the same roller coaster too. I was excited. Like I liked Hangman Page in Ring of Honor, and then he was doing his thing and everything, and then he kind of started doing the whole drunk gimmick thing, and I was kind of like losing it a little bit. I was like losing faith. I was like, oh man, he's not going to do anything. But I think they did that on purpose. They wanted you to lose a little faith in him, so when you saw him start to do better, it'd pull you back in. And yes, it pulled me back in. So yeah, I'm guaranteeing, I want to say within a year or so, he'll be a heavyweight champion. I think it's going to be a huge pop during that pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, wherever they're at, whenever that moment happens, that arena, the roof is going to explode because the crowd's going to be so loud about it. And
Yep.
It's going to be that point where like, and it's going to happen. I get it, right? And I know it's coming, but I don't know if like everybody else would be ready to check it out. But he's going to kick out a One Wing Angel, and that's when fans are going to lose it. Like,
Oof.
oh my god!
You just said that, and even like I almost popped, and I'm like, wait, this is just a scenario.
Yeah.
I felt it in my heart.
Yo, like the most protected finisher of like wrestling, and it's going to happen. Like it's the kick out is happening, and people are gonna lose their mind. And Kenny's gonna sell it too beautifully too. I just can't wait, and it'll happen. And then Heyman wins the title, and we're all gonna just go ape shit about it. So yeah, I very can't wait for that moment. And another person that's like in there too, that's like like winning me over. Well, she's already won me over. She won me over last year with her match with Sheeta. Was Britt Baker, and that match that she had in Atlanta when they had all the sets closed down and they were just like in the makeshift area. That match that she had with Sheeta where she got her nose broken, I was like, yo, I'm a fan of Britt because of this. And then since that moment, like I've advocated, I've like fought tooth and nail and telling all the guys too, like, yo, dude, like she's enigmatic. She's enigmatic. Enigmatic is not the right word. She's a firecracker. She's the lightning in a bottle. And like to watch her explode on the scene and like to the point where we're all like, we want Britt to win the title. And we like Sheeta, but we want Britt to have the title. Like it's just massive, man, to see like that play out.
I definitely have a lot of respect for her, and like she was the first female to be signed to AEW. But the thing is, yeah, like the whole her being a face just was not working. That like it died out really quick, and then they did something that no one expected. Like, were we really going to expect the doctor / wrestler gimmick to be like a heel thing? Like it became a thing, and she made it work. And honestly, it got her ass over, and it got to the point where people just wanted to see her like succeed, and she did. And honestly, she is super fucking entertaining. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for her. She does love this business. Like I know, like I think IWA on their Twitter page posted like a picture of her literally like sweeping up like around the ring. Like she was into it, and this is during the time that she was still going to school to become like a full-on dentist, and she still does that too. So she's dedicated. She loves what she does, that she's willing to like sacrifice time and sleep in order to like do what she loves, which is wrestling.
It's funny too because like I remember hearing her talk about like before the pandemic happened, right? And watching her go on tour and stuff, she would talk about how like she'd get on the very latest flight that she could to wherever she's supposed to go to. And she'd go there, she'd work with the guys and stuff. So all day Wednesday, her place was closed, her practice. And then she would get on the first red eye that she could back to Jacksonville, fly to Jacksonville, get some sleep, get up, open her place up at like 10 a.m. and then get to work. And then she'd be at work for the whole day, shut it down, go work out, come home, and then her and her boyfriend will remain nameless. Will they would just hang out. They would hang out, and then they would, and the next day she'd go back to doing. And it's just cool to see, like, I'm glad that she didn't like. And it sounds rude when I say it like this. I'm glad she didn't sign to WWE. I'm glad that WWE kind of told her like, hey, we want you, one person, and it was like, we don't want you to stop doing what you're doing. Go be a dentist. And then I'm glad that she was able to make a career out of both jobs. So, big ups to her and the dedication that she puts in for the business. You're right. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, I'm honestly a big fan of the AEW product of how it is, like the whole like even in the beginning, because I knew it was like, oh, they're not doing live stuff yet. I don't know if they're ever going to or when they're going to, but right now they have a really good set schedule of just doing something once a week plus the quarterly events, not the monthly events. Because sometimes, man, it brings me back to like even a couple of years ago when I want to say it was like 2016. There was like 2 WWE pay-per-views a month. That was exhausting. So like be able to have like 4 specific events for a company like AEW with All Out, Full Gear, Revolution, what's the other
Double or Nothing.
The other Double or Nothing. Yeah, sorry. Wow, that thing we literally were talking about. But it feels good to have like those events and know that it's like, oh, they're setting up for like, this is what we're gonna have next in September. Cool. It gives me time to like see what they're going to develop. It allows them months to start developing for that pay-per-view instead of like, oh, we have a pay-per-view literally in 2.5 weeks. Let's just start throwing stuff around. But I really like that a lot. So that's like one of my favorite things about that company so far.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they're able to like throw you for like because they have like the special events that go on. Like you're gonna have Fight for the Fallen. You're gonna have the I don't know if they're gonna call it Bash at the Beach because obviously they can't use that name right now. So
Yeah.
the Clash at the Sunrise. I don't know. We'll call it something different, but they're gonna you're gonna have all these other like matches that are gonna happen, and plus Blood and Guts will also be a thing that they'll be doing like annually as
Mhm.
well. So you're gonna get all these cool events that happen, and I'm very much for it. Like I love like the cool like one-off events, and then you're gonna have like the big pay-per-view. So I'm very much agreeing with you about it. Like I feel some companies decided they want to run like pay-per-views every month, and you're just at that point you're just kind of like, all right, who lost last month? Oh, Cesaro. Okay, yeah. So we'll just put just take Cesaro out and we'll just insert this person, right? Because like I kind of feel like in not to knock SmackDown because SmackDown is just slaying it, right? But Roman Reigns just beat up Rey Mysterio on SmackDown. So is Rey Mysterio now going to go for the title on Hell in the Cell? Like, will it be him or will it be Jimmy? Like, what are we doing? Like, why is it that you're having these two individuals? But I will admit I did like the tease between Seth Rollins and Roman, like when they like squared up. I did kind of like that. But obviously I was like, we've seen that match numerous times. Like it's no, we need some different faces. I not that I would say it like this, but I'd love to see Montez Ford get pushed for a singles run against Roman, or just get other faces in there so that people can see like, hey, there's a lot of other talent that can actually work. But back to AEW, the 4 pay-per-view cycle works, and you could tell great stories within that time, and then you could tell fun little short stories at the same time. So I feel like their method is working and is going to keep drawing more and more viewers. It just sucks right now that they're on Friday nights until for the next couple of weeks, and they'll be back on Wednesdays.
Mhm. Yeah, but no, it's also the whole once a week schedule for AEW. It allows the wrestlers to either do something else, or if not, they could just work once a week, and it allows us to not see them tired. Because I've gone to pay-per-views. I've for WWE, I've gone to like Raws, SmackDowns. I've gone to live events, and the thing is too, I can. I hate saying it like this. I could tell that like with that type of hard, heavy 5-day, 60-day a week schedule, you can tell when certain people are doing certain moves and doing certain spots, like during certain matches where you're like, okay, I can tell they're not going full on this stuff, because the thing is, they're probably wrecked from doing all of these live events. Because I've seen live events with like, I think I saw like a main event with it was like a hardcore match, Cena versus Kane in 2014, and I could tell there's certain spots they're doing where they're kind of trying to do a lot of resting holds, and like I could tell it's like, dude, you guys have been on tour like this whole time. I get it. It's Friday. It's like it's Thursday. You guys are probably like on your 4th time doing this match. I was like, I get why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes back to talk about like the European schedule. Like the people talk about like the European schedule is the most brutal schedule for WWE because you're doing
Mhm.
literally like 16 shows in like 14 days. So like you're literally like going to city to city to city, and then like God knows for everything else that happens behind the scenes, because we've heard about horror stories that have happened with certain wrestlers breaking certain doors, and like just
Mhm.
you know behind scuffles that happen. Like, and it sucks, but you're right. I was like doing the same spot over and over and over again in front of a different crowd. Although, like sometimes you want to do a full bore, it is sometimes like you could definitely tell when it's time to phone it in because I'm like, because I haven't even, and like just myself, like I can't be one to complain, but I'll be honest, man. Like once a week, like twice a week when I go and train and stuff like that, like I don't want to do every single bump that we go through. I'm just like, can we just like skip these ones for this week? And everybody's like, no. I'm like, all right, let's go get it done.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, no, it definitely is an exhausting thing, especially like when you're having, WWE superstars doing it like, well, before the pandemic, they were doing at least 5 times out of the week, and like one of your days was not you resting, it was you trying to get home and then come back the next day to do another round of events. Like it's exhausting. It you could tell it's exhausting whether you wrestle or not. You could see it's mental and physical big time.
Oh yeah, the travel is ridiculous. You fly in, they tell you what the loop is, and you got to go hit 3 cities, and then you're trying to get back home so that you can rest. That's why I give those guys so much love, because I'm just like, wow, man, like you guys were literally like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you rest Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you're on tour, back doing Thursday, Fridays, and I'm just like, man, like that is a lot of bumping that I'm just like, you know what? I don't really want to do all that.
Yeah, and I'll even admit from my perspective, I used to play music in like a metal band from 2010 to 2016, and we did like a 5-week tour. There were certain times I was like, I'd be in Evansville, Indiana, and I'm like, I'm not going out as hard as I want to right now because I don't think I can right now.
It's like, all right, man, look, we're gonna play these songs. I'm gonna do some stuff to get the crowd kind of hype. I'm just gonna keep it low key though.
Yeah, you get me the first night of the tour, I'll go all out. You get me at the 8th, I probably won't be as good compared to what I was at the first day.
All right. Yo, I feel that. I feel that a bunch. So with that, let's just jump into our next section, right? So the next thing that we're gonna talk about is temp check, as Chaz likes to say. We're gonna talk about one wrestler that we think is coming up, like as far as like heat wise, or we can spin this the other way. You can talk about some wrestler that's kind of cooling off. I think for me, my wrestler that you gotta talk about, right? Miro. I mean, I don't think there's anybody like on the for real. Like he's just a fire right now. He's just burning and just kind of scorching everybody, man. Ever since he won the TNT title, the matches that he had last couple times, and then his promos like just ignite that. I believe this Miro is what Rusev was prior to even up to WrestleMania with the Tank. So I mean, I feel like this is kind of like a better version of that, because he's like obviously more fit. He just has a better handle on who he is. And I just feel like this version of Miro is not one that we've seen, but he's just, the sky's the limit for this guy, man. Like, God bless. Like, when he goes to challenge for the AEW title, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think he is everything that I wanted him to be in WWE plus more. Like, even sometimes I'll watch him and I'm intimidated of him, and I'm just watching him on a TV screen. Like, I'm just like, I'm standing back on my couch just being like, this dude is massive and scary. But I'm so glad like the success he's having so far in AEW, and I expect him to do nothing but just keep going and just going up the ranking as a great performer.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Do you have a wrestler, or are you just gonna stick with Miro?
I actually do want to go with I'm going to go more independent, because that's one of the main things I keep up on. I will say there is a wrestler. There's two wrestlers right now I want to say are just like popping up on the independent scene, and just like they're blowing up. And the thing is, they're so young. They are so young. I'm talking about they're between the ages of 18, barely 18, and 21. The first one I'm going to talk about is a man by the name of Starboy Charlie. This guy is from the Pacifica, California. I've seen him wrestle. I remember seeing him wrestle when he was like 15, and he was good at 15. Now that he's 18, doing a lot of stuff, he's going out to the Midwest. He's going out to the East Coast. He's doing a lot of GCW stuff. I think I think as we're speaking right now, he has a match in GCW right now. I don't know where it is exactly, but he's going against Chris Dickinson right now. And that's a tough dude to go against, but and he's only 18. Like it's crazy to think how young he is and how good he is at 18, and to know how much experience he's had, because he started wrestling when he was 11.
Oh, wow.
And you could tell and he's gotten bigger too. Like, I used to think of him as just this scrawny little guy who could fucking go. Now he's built himself up more. He's put more muscle on him, put more weight on him. He looks legit. And I haven't seen a bad match from him ever. And then another one I want to also give up is another guy from he's living out in LA right now. His name is Jack Cartwheel. This guy is literally, he grew up as a gymnast. Like, he started gymnastics at I believe the age of 8. Last time I talked to him, he told me it was like 8 years old. He was doing gymnastics. The dude is built like a gymnast, and he like just saw, I love wrestling, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna incorporate a lot of my gymnastics. And he's quick. He is really quick. Like, I'm telling you, you blink, you're gonna miss one of his spots. But he is definitely blowing up. And one of the things that's really helping out his career for me is he is doing a lot of stuff in LA with the Lucha Libre scene. So it's really helping out a lot of his high spots, his fast pace, his hard hitting. And I honestly, I know some people aren't going to take the Cartwheel last name seriously because it's he for Championship Wrestling in Hollywood, he goes through as Jack Cartwright, which is his real name. But I think no matter whatever name he goes with, Cartwright, Cartwheel, you're definitely going to want to keep your eyes on him because he is so much fun to watch in the ring. And I promise anyone who hasn't seen him, go just look up Jack Cartwheel and you'll see how much great matches he's had.
Bet. So there we go, man. That's temp check for us, And I'm glad you're talking about the indie scene because I know, like, for us, normally we talk about we do talk a lot about the bigger promotions. I know. I think the last episode that we did, I had brought up Casey Navarro because I was like, even though he was just on AEW, I just saw him in another promotion and he worked really well there. And he, there's so many great up and coming wrestlers that I think people aren't previewed to see yet. Like, they haven't seen them yet, and when they pop up, people are going to be like, oh, that person right there is really, really good. Like, another person I'll throw out, Manny Smith. If you guys don't know, he's actually working tapings currently with Impact, but he was on AEW Dark. Before that, he was a part of Devotion Championship Wrestling out in Utah. Just a solid worker and just a great dude to watch. He's been in the business for about 9 years now, and he's starting to get all the kudos that we're going to be given to him, and he's just tearing up the scene. Another person that I want to bring up is Rekka. She's a nightmare too. Gosh, she's incredible. And she's so good. She keeps coming back on AEW Dark. They love her. They love her character. They love the way that she presents herself. She's only been in the business for 2 years, but she is just tearing it up. And I'm like, yeah, that's the person to be watching too. So I could definitely appreciate good indie names that are being called out.
Yeah, it definitely makes me happy when I see how good the wrestlers on the independent scene are right now. It just makes me happy for the future. It makes me very happy for the future. And I honestly, the people we're talking about, I can definitely see within a couple of years, they'll be up there. And it's great because once they eventually go up there, a new crop of guys and girls will come in and do the same exact thing. That's what's so great about it. No matter what, no matter how many years go by, there will always be someone new to talk about. And I love it. That's what's so great about wrestling.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm glad that we're talking about this, right? Because a lot of people will be like, well, the indie scene is dying anyway. I'm like, how? I was like, if you're not paying attention, just here on the East Coast, there's a bunch of wrestlers that people haven't paid attention to. And I can only imagine on the West Coast, it's about the same thing because there's just wrestlers that people haven't heard of over here on the East Coast. But every time you start seeing people get called up to WWE, and I say called up, that's not fair. But every time you see someone sign to WWE or AEW or Impact or even ROH, right? The names are massive. But then yeah, sure, they get pulled out of the indie scene and they get signed into these major companies. But when you see them come back or you see the next group of guys coming in, or group of wrestlers, sorry, they tear it up. They continue to tear it up. I'm watching, there's a few guys, Black Storm that's out of here. He's actually gonna be on our show here soon. Matt Vertigo, just a couple names that I'm just going to throw out really quick. And then, there's other guys that are hidden gems that people just haven't seen yet. And I'm like, you guys should really be paying attention. And everybody who's part of the show know Pure Ignorance, right? They're on the rise. And those are that's just in the mid-Atlantic. We're not even talking up and down the East Coast, right? So we're not even talking about Waves and Curls who are tearing it up. We're not talking about groups like Prolific who haven't been checked out yet. We're not talking about, Darius Carter, who he is the hands, man. Talk about Beast Man, who's another person that's just out here on the East Coast, who's moving his way out to the Midwest and the South. These are all great talents. People haven't seen them yet, but trust me, when they get plucked out of the indie scene and get put into those bigger companies, you're gonna be like, oh wow, and then another group of people are gonna come into the indie scene. They're gonna fill that up too.
It's a beautiful thing. Again, people do sometimes say that the independent scene is dead. Well, I'm totally unaware of that because literally this whole month in June, I've already filmed last night for a promotion out here in the upper North Bay area, and I have to go to Vegas next week to go shoot a Brian Cage match for another promotion. The following week I have to go to, well, actually I'll have to be in my hometown to do another wrestling event as well, and then literally the next night after that I literally have a total of 5 events that I'm just filming just in Northern California and then Vegas. So I mean, people could say the independent scene is dead. I'm totally unaware of that because I'm busy working in the independent scene.
And that's awesome though, man. That's great that you're able to. Unfortunately, like some of these bigger promotions, man, like I don't want to say all bigger promotions. Maybe one has a show that's not really doing well, which is what's going to lead us into our third debate topic. See, segue. That's what we do here. We try to make those.
I love that. Good one.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, right? So Monday Night Raw, they just had their whole incident, or I don't say incident, but they just had their latest ratings come out, and the third hour was at 1.1 million, right? So it's a huge loss of numbers, and we're talking about a show that, back in the 90s, like it was unheard of to have like 1 million viewers watching a show, right? Because once they bumped it to 2 hours, we're talking there, somewhere between like 8, 9, up into like the 10 million every Monday, and slowly we've been seeing that dwindle down. And so now we're down to the million mark. I know a couple weeks ago, right after WrestleMania, because that is a caveat, we had the first hour was at like 2.2 mil, second hour was at 2.0, third one was like 1.6, right? And now we're looking here at this third hour now, and they're at 1.1. And so, like, what do you think it is that's causing Raw's ratings to fall?
Finally, I've been wanting to talk about this one. Okay, I'm gonna be as honest about this. The reason that these ratings are falling so drastically is because this Raw's been around for what, 25 plus years. It was their A show. I don't think it is in their eyes. It is not. Like, not just from the fan perspective. People go, well, SmackDown's way better because of this and this and this. Yeah, it's better because they're looking at it from a business perspective. And the thing is, I can guarantee you that Fox contract is huge compared to the Raw contract that they probably had, because they've been with USA for so long, except for those couple of years where they were on Spike TV. But still, they don't care about it as much. I mean, they're already doing stuff with, because I believe USA Network is owned by Universal, which is NBC. They're already doing stuff with NBC and making money with them already. So I mean, I don't think it's their priority anymore. That's why they don't care about it as much. They're more worried about how to get SmackDown to a wider audience. And the thing is too, I mean, it's the reason why they put Bad Bunny on Raw, is because they knew that, a mega star singer or rapper, they were able to put him on there and make money off of that. So they were fine with that. So I just don't think that Raw is their priority anymore. They let it coast.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. It seems like there's like a lot of phone in. I think another thing is too is that what Raw was like, because I remember at the time SmackDown was like the work rate show, right? So you would watch SmackDown because you want to see the SmackDown 6 like tear down the house, right? You're watching Ray and Eddie, or you're watching Edge, Batista. You're watching all these great wrestlers like go into it, and just like you're watching great wrestling between like 6 great individuals, plus some other talent that gets thrown in there every once in a while. And Raw was like the entertainment show, right? It was the show that had like these big, larger than life characters. The Rock, you had Austin, you had Taker, you have Kane, you have Mick Foley, you have DX, like all on the show. And you watch those shows because you're like, I like the big characters. But it just seems like Raw, it doesn't have that big character that it can gravitate to, right? Like Drew is a great worker, right? And he is a great work rate. Like he can do pretty much everything, right? But really post that, man, like who really is there? Like who's really you're trying to watch? Like Miz and Morrison, right? Miz is out now, right? Morrison's still around, but Miz is out. It's very different. And you're trying to like, you're not really building up new stars either. You're just kind of like, well, we'll just ride out. RK Bro is like probably one of the coolest things that has come on Raw, and it's taken a while for them to get there. And I'm just kind of like, what are we gonna do? Like, when do we get some new faces that we can get behind, like new characters?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Also, shout out to RK Bro. They have a really cool T-shirt on the shop. It's a snake riding a scooter, and I don't know why that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'm not gonna buy it. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, like the one thing that also hurts is like, that we did this whole women's evolution thing, and I feel like with Raw, they're just like kind of throwing them out there, and just like even with the whole Nikki Cross thing, I just think it's an extremely lazy way to throw her into that match. It's like she's gonna be in a triple threat match for the women's title because they couldn't beat her because she beat Rhea in a match where she had to beat her in less than 2 minutes. Like 2 minutes is nothing. Like 2 minutes is like the amount of how much women's matches were before this evolution. So it's just it's bad. It's really bad booking, and I'm really disappointed in seeing how far that women's division has dropped.
Yeah, it's sad too because like you have all this great talent in there, right? Between Asuka, Charlotte, you have Nikki Cross there now, Rhea, like you have all this talent that you can build around. And as like an NXT does, I say this because WWE, right? You can't say like NXT is not the same as Raw and SmackDown. It is. It's all part of WWE. And NXT does like this phenomenal job with their women, right? And SmackDown, kind of hit or miss. Kind of depends on where you're looking. Can tear the house down. But when you have Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and you have Alexa Bliss, and you have name after name after name on this list, and you're really not doing anything to build the women's division up, that's one minor problem to the bigger problem that you have, which is that you have no other characters to build a show around. Like when we loved Raw, right? It was because you had guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin was leading the charge. Undertaker was there on the charge. You had John Cena leading the way, right? Like you had a show built around guys. And I don't think WWE currently has that guy that they can build the show around. Like I will be real and I will be biased. I think Keith Lee was that dude. And like now Keith Lee's not on the show. And you're kind of like, well, I don't know what's going on. Bobby Lashley's here. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Bobby's not Keith. Like Keith has this unique promo style. He's got this great work rate. If you saw his stuff on NXT, if you see his stuff in the indies, you know what this guy can do. Like you pay to see this guy because he's a larger than life character and he has this larger than life personality that people will gravitate to. When those arenas get filled back up and you start seeing crowds like hover, like back, like, until we find out whether Keith Lee gets cut or not, because I know that is a big rumor. He's just a name that you can draw through. Like, you know, like let Keith be that guy. He will lead if you just let him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and I love Keith Lee, by the way. I think he's great. He was killer on the independent scene. But the thing is, I'm gonna try and look from a casual like WWE fan who watches Raw, watches SmackDown. That's it. I will say I would keep track of a lot of his matches when he got to that to Raw, and I will admit it's hard to get behind him sometimes because the thing is, yes, he is a larger than life character, but the thing is, a lot of the times during his matches on Raw, it was he either lost via disqualification, he either won via disqualification, he either won this match because some interference, he either lost this match because of some interference. There wasn't too many times I would see him on Raw winning like a clean match against someone big. It happened a couple times, but not a lot. So it's a little hard to get in. I want to be able to see this guy that I like so much dominate, and I want to see him talk. I want to see him, say some stuff, like, because that's what was made him so fun. Like, I love hearing him talk. He has a very unique way of talking. It's smooth. It's smooth like butter, and you listen to everything because it's like no one else talks like him. Like, you don't expect that big 300-pound guy to talk so smooth and elegant. Like, it's like people will listen. Just give him a chance, please.
Yeah, and to go like. He had his debut match at SummerSlam against Randy and beat Randy Orton clean in the middle of the ring. And Randy, to be real, Randy won't do that for just anybody. And we know that there's been a history of things where Randy won't do certain things for certain wrestlers. Like he'll phone it in if he has to. But this was a match where like you could tell like Randy was like, I'm going to bump for you. I'm going to do all the things that you want to do. I'm going to help you get over. And like he was. And then the next thing we did, we just kind of like Keith had nothing after that. And I was like, you got to build on that, right? And like when I think of like other characters, like and to me, when I look at WWE, like on Raw at least, there's not a character that I can gravitate to. Like there's not a person that I can legit be like, you know what? Let's go see what he does. Because let's be real, like the other person that you could potentially say the show would evolve around would be like the Fiend, right? But Bray Wyatt's not there right now because of some issues that he's having, and Godspeed to you, and I hope that you find your way back. But like, if you look at SmackDown, the reason why SmackDown is, and I'm gonna say SmackDown is doing well. I mean, I know that they wanted to do like 4 million viewers for Fox, but obviously, 2.8, 2.9, that's still a lot of people to watch on a Friday night. Is Roman. Like, Roman is a great character. This, acknowledge the chief, the head of the table, like that whole thing. Like, I get behind, because I'm like, you know what? I kind of feel where he's coming from, and I'm like, I like that character. But if I look back at Raw, there's not a character there. Like, no one's there. Like, who's Bobby Lashley, right? The almighty Bobby Lashley, right? He essentially is what Roman is, just on Raw. And I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, I like you. I like you. I like Bobby Lashley because I love Bobby Lashley when he was at Bellator and when he fought in mixed martial arts. But this character, I'm like, all right, man. Like, I really want to get behind you. I really do, but you got to give me something to get behind.
Yeah, no, I feel like with Bobby, like I do like Bobby. I loved him in TNA when he had every single title just wrapped around his entire body, kind of like what Kenny's doing. But at the same time, I just think I don't know. I'm not feeling it anymore. Like, I feel like it's gone downhill for me, and I think for me personally, I think he still needed the whole Hurt Business thing, because I think the Hurt Business was one of the things that made you go, wow, I gotta go watch Raw, because like the Hurt Business is gonna be on there, and that was cool. And then the second that died out, now they're all being replaced with like a bunch of random women in dresses. Like, it's sad. I hope the best for Monday Night Raw, and I hope there's gonna be someone out there. Maybe, I don't know, because as you just said about the whole Randy Orton putting over Keith Lee, maybe this is the whole RK Bro is eventually going to lead to something where maybe they'll eventually not be a team in the future, maybe in the months to come. He'll turn on him, and it'll be a thing where, he puts over Riddle as like this great singles competitor, and maybe he's the one to be in that spot soon.
Yeah, and I think I know that he's had a controversial past. I do know that. But I feel like Randy is the perfect person right now to build the show around to help elevate future talent. And I'm not saying like he has to get pinned by everybody. Just, he's the guy that has great work rate, that's going to help get you to that next level, and he's going to make everybody look like a superstar. Maybe not everybody, because there was the whole gender thing, and it is what it is at that point. But other wrestlers like Keith, Matt, we talk about those guys right there. He's put over other dudes. The Fiend is also one of those guys that, like, Bray Wyatt wasn't the person I was thinking about. He's got the ability to elevate those talents. And then when he puts on matches with Kofi Kingston, tearing down the house. And I love their matches. I'm like, I love their chemistry that with together. So I know that's there. Xavier Woods is another person that his match last week with Randy Orton was actually really fun to watch too. So I definitely will give a lot of props to that. So I think Randy's kind of your key right there. Like, you want to put some guys over, but then not like put them over Randy. Then just have him go with him. He'll elevate their level. And so will another name too I'll throw out there too is The Miz. The Miz will do it too. Like, he's really good at making other people look really, really good. So, and he doesn't always have to lose. He wins, but the other guy gets over because guess what? He made him look like $1 million, but he just came out with a win. So I agree.
Yeah, no, when it comes to like, of course, yes, The Miz, when he puts people over, it's great. But I think for some reason when Randy puts over someone like, say Riddle or Keith Lee, or even that feud that he was doing with Bray Wyatt, trying to get over the whole Fiend character, you definitely pay attention, because that's just something that you don't see very often from Randy. But he's picking out the people that he likes. It's pretty much the same idea with when Cena was doing the whole US Open Challenge. Like, he was in the whole feuds he was having, like, he was there to later on in his career, and I'm glad Randy's doing it too. He's there to put over new talent. It was when Cena was doing that with Kevin Owens, he was doing that with AJ Styles, to show that AJ was like the legit man in wrestling, which, man, AJ is like number one, like probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But like, it's cool to see Randy doing that, and he just does it in a unique way where you really pay attention when he's like the whole RK Bro thing. Like, the fact that he's doing that with Matt Riddle, it catches my eye. That's like the one thing I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna check out Raw a little, because I want to see what's going on with that. So it's definitely, it means a lot when Randy is working with someone.
So the guys, we have a chat room, and we're always talking in the chat room. And as soon as I saw the potential of Matt Riddle and Randy Orton together, I did call it RK Bro. I was like, yo, it's RK Bro. I'm so hyped for this. And everybody's like, no, this is going to be awful. I was like, no, it's not. It's going to be amazing. Just watch. And some of the guys have turned. They're like, all right, maybe you were right. I was like, I know I was right, because I genuinely, there's only certain things that make me like hyped about watching an act, right? And that's one of them. The other one that really, a bunch of my friends were like, this is never going to work. This is stupid. I'm like, they're all talking about Bray Wyatt when he was doing the Firefly Funhouse. I'm like, I don't get it. This is dumb. I was like, no. Give it a few weeks. I promise you, you're going to turn over. And sure enough, everybody that was like, nah, it's terrible, they're like, I'm really intrigued by this. I was like, I know, because it's so fun.
Yeah, I love that. I love those types of characters, and I really did like the Fiend stuff. Like it caught my attention with like, what the hell was this? And then it to me, it's like a very like who's a good analogy? Like it's like kind of like a Pee Wee Herman thing. Like it's like the whole fun house thing, but like it's like one of my favorite movies is Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. It's obviously supposed to be this kid like childish character, but like I think that movie is I think it's directed by Tim Burton, so a lot of like the certain things were like a little spooky, a little weird, a little like it's definitely unique, and I definitely love that character. So I do hope we eventually get Bray to come back, hopefully when he's ready. But that was another thing that kept me going with Raw, but unfortunately he's not there at the moment. So RK Bro is a great replacement, and I could not be happier.
Well, speaking of RK Bro, let's get into the second best segment of the 3 Count Podcast. Psych, it's the best segment of the 3 Count Podcast, and that is the Red Dogs Power Rankings. You guys know how it is. It's based on really, I've never really divulged this. Someone divulged this today. For you guys who don't know, the way I rank these matches are based on how into I was the match, right? And how it made me feel at the time. So a lot of people have been asking like how I rate these matches. That's how I rate them. So now you guys know, like, there's no love lost to it. It's just like, if I wasn't into it, but I thought it was a good match, it's probably sitting at the 10 spot. So let's get into the Red Dog Power Rankings. And now that you know the secret, let's talk about our honorable mention. So our first honorable mention match of the night, I mentioned it right at the top of the show, is the Young Bucks versus Moxley and Kingston at Double or Nothing. It was a good match. But it's definitely, like I said, on my top 10.
Yeah, no, that's obviously that was a fun match, and I love seeing Kingston and Moxley together, and also coming out to that Wild Thing theme song is just so cool.
It is very cool. So getting into our next honorable mention, we do five. I do 5 honorable mention matches, by the way. I didn't mention that, so I probably should. Mm-hmm. So our next honorable mention match is gonna be Randy Orton versus Xavier Woods at Raw, which we just talked about. Like, you know, Randy is a killer talent and always helping elevate talent, but it was an amazing match too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think when it comes down to it, it definitely shows you that, hey, Xavier Woods is an incredible talent. Most people don't realize that. People just thought he was like a guy who plays a really good trumpet / also plays the bass, but he's actually a really good wrestler. And I love that.
And, you know, he talked about how he developed an honor roll on Feel the Power, and I was like, yo, that's actually really genius. And the fact that he's been able to run with that since he was like 14 years old, I was like, that's really cool. I'm not gonna spoil it for him. Y'all gonna have to go listen to that episode. All right, so we're gonna get into our next honorable mention match. It's gonna be Serena Deeb versus Riho. This was the buy-in match at Double or Nothing. I just thought this was a fire match all the way around. I didn't have any problem with it. It's just that there's so many good wrestling matches that unfortunately this one wasn't going to make the top 10.
Yeah, I think it was a great match for the buy-in. I loved the outcome. I think Serena Deeb is just killing it as the NWA Women's Champion, and she hits hard, but I also have to give it up for Riho being 90 pounds and taking those hits like nothing. Like it's crazy how small she is, but how tough she is.
Yeah, she eats a lot. And I know Chaz is probably sitting there right now watching it, just going, the fact that we're mentioning Riho all together. But
she's incredible. She's the only she's the only AEW wrestling figure that I have from them.
He would tell you that you wasted your money. Like, I'm just gonna be honest.
First
It's
off,
not a rehope for him.
I waste my money all the time on stupid shit, and I love stupid shit.
So let's get into our next honorable mention match. This would be Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Like, this match didn't make it. I felt like this was like the best tag team match, honestly, on the whole Double or Nothing card. But it is sitting there at the honorable mention match.
I'm honestly shocked at the match. I'm shocked in a good way, because the thing is, we got to see that Sting can still go. Like, it is scary. Like, once you saw him jump off onto Sky and Paige, you were like, you're scared for a second. I have my cat with me, sorry. I'm scared for a I was scared for a second, but the fact that he landed and he got back up like it was no big deal, it was definitely a good one. Like, I'm very happy for Sting, and I just hope the best for him.
Yeah, definitely. So our next honorable mention match is going to be Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston on Monday Night Raw. This was the main event, and I have to be honest, man, this match was hard hitting, and it definitely would have made the top 10 had maybe another match didn't make this list. Because the top 10 I feel like my top 10 for this week is pretty tough.
Yeah, but I will admit, with those two, like, obviously, like, McIntyre is an incredible athlete, big guy, but he can move. And then you have Kofi, who's just all around good at almost everything he does. And then you put those together, and it's just you make magic. It's it's the ice cream to your cake. You put it together. It's great.
Yeah, their dynamic and their chemistry was on point. So yes, I definitely much agree. So let's get into number 10. This is the number 10 match, and this is the one that's really going to start blowing people's minds. Kushida versus Carmelo Hayes. So this was Carmelo Hayes' debut on NXT. Most of you guys would know him as Christian Casanova on the indie scene. He came in, and Kushida tore the house down on NXT, and I felt like this match was definitely very much of needing to be in the top 10.
Man, it's just so good to watch. Like, it's good to watch like wrestlers go from like starting off in the independent scene and then just growing into these incredible athletes that people need to see. And honestly, this is something that people who haven't seen it, go watch it. Go get on Peacock, or if you're not from the United States, on the WWE Network, and go watch it. It is so good, especially with Kushida as well. Like, I know he was floating around for the first couple months in NXT, and it kind of scared me. I thought his career was just going to die out, but look where he is right now. He's doing great.
Yep, he is. And just the thing too, like, to put over Carmelo is that, like, he has this look, and the look is just like, it's not one that we've seen in the business for a long time. And I know there's a bunch of those kids that are going to be coming through, right? So Ari Sterling is definitely one of those that looks really, really good on TV. But it's just Chris Casanova. He's just like this stacked dude. He kind of looks like, and I know a lot, this is probably not going to be the best person to compare him to, but you'll understand when I make it. He's like a mini version of like Scott Steiner. Like, talking like late 90s Scott Steiner. Like, he's just jacked. He's cut everywhere. His abs have abs. Like, his six-pack abs each have a six-pack inside of them. He's just very fit, and I thoroughly enjoy like watching his matches. And he's super athletic.
Yeah, it's always fun to see like a really big jacked, or like someone who's like, I guess the word jacked, but he can move. Right. And that's something that you don't usually see. Like, yeah, it's like the early 90s, like Scott Steiner doing like freaking Hurricane Ranas. You're like, that big guy shouldn't be doing that. Right. But he does it.
And the thing too is that, like, Christian Casanova, I think he's like 220, like maybe 220-ish. Like, he's not in the sense of WWE, he's not a large dude. He's just very fit and cut. I can't stop praising him over. So we're gonna get to our number 9 match. It is Miro versus Lance Archer at Double or Nothing. Again, Miro is on fire, lights out. I know this match didn't go long, and that's fine, because that's what's supposed to happen, unfortunately, because Miro is a super athlete and he just destroys people. And he's the best man for a reason, so he gets this spot.
Yeah, no, they're definitely great. I'm super happy with how Miro is going. I'm happy that I got to see Lance Archer in this type of match. They were just beating the hell out of each other to the point where they were throwing each other outside of the barricade onto people. Like, it was great. You know, big shout out to Lance Archer. I know it sounds really weird to say it like this, but really intimidating guy when you meet him, which I've had the chance to meet him, but also what a sweetheart. He's gonna hate if he ever hears this, but no, what a nice dude. But the dude will wreck house if he needs to, and when he does it, was just all the time.
Like, oh, you're blowing my cover, kid. It's kayfabe. Like, keep it up.
I know if he doesn't watch, I will. Ugh.
So we're gonna jump into our number 8 match, which I had mentioned this match earlier in the show, right? Josh Alexander versus TJP. This was an Iron Man match. It actually led right into Impact. So if you guys get a chance to go watch BTI before the Impact, it'll lead right into Impact. It was so cool too because it was all blue, right? The screens were all blue, and then you could just see them turn into red, and then here you are on Impact. But yes, so it's Iron Man match. It was killer. TJP again, Josh Alexander, like they do nothing but tear the house down. So big ups to Josh Alexander for getting the win. And it was even kind of something cool that happened afterwards where TJP kind of like said to Josh, like, hey, like, you know, I feel like we're destined to do this forever. But unfortunately, he's like, we're not going to do this for a few more months. And that's for kind of, if people don't keep up with TJP on his IG or even on his Twitter page, they got a baby on the way. So yeah, but it's definitely cool. It was definitely a great match. And I definitely wanted to put it up in a matchup. So big ups to those guys.
Yeah, what I really liked about that is I actually didn't even know about that match until I went to watch Impact on Impact Plus, and the match was literally it fell into Impact Wrestling, and I was like, "What's this?" So I stopped it, went to watch that match, and I was like, "Holy hell!" I was like, "How you want me to?" You want me to watch this incredible match and then try to keep my hopes up for everything else that's going on? I was like, it was incredible. I love Josh Alexander. The dude is just a master when it comes to his wrestling skills, and he's super strong. Like I I love what he's doing, and honestly, I think there needs to be more eyes on him in the future.
Oh, I've made it no secret that the X division. I left Impact for a while. I just stopped watching TNA everything for a long, long time,
Mhm.
and I recently got back into it last August because one of our friends on the show, Chris Idol, was like, "Hey, you guys need to really start watching Impact again." I was like, "All right, bet whatever." So I gave it a shot, and then I watched the following Tuesday, and I was like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "This is actually really good," and then like. I found myself like madly attracted to the X division, right? Because TJP was there, Chris Bay was there. Josh Alexander was in there. You had Rohit Raju in there. You had, and then like also all this Ace Austin. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out, but like you saw all this great talent like in the X division just start like putting on these incredible matches, and I was like, I'm attached to this. And then like you could take guys out, put guys in. El Phantasmo was in there, like he was just nasty, like just fitting right in. And I'm just like, there's just so much great talent that comes out of the X division. I'm like, this is my favorite division in all of wrestling, period.
No, I totally agree. Also, big shout out to the homie Chris Bay. I've got to film a few of his matches before out in Oakland and also the South San Francisco area a couple years back. But I love that dude. He's honestly an incredible talent, and I hope he can get that X Division title. I hope one day he'll be a heavyweight champion because he's cool. He is a cool dude, like in and out of the ring. Like when you see him like show up to a match, like he just looks like the coolest guy that you just want to be like, that dude is definitely worth watching. He's a star.
Facts. So we're going to move into number 7. That's going to be the Mysterios and Usos on SmackDown. We're talking about match 1, right? So match 2 was actually really good too, but it was not as good as the first match. The opener for SmackDown this last Friday was amazing. And it's just, okay, I don't want to take anything from the Mysterios, right? Because I'm definitely super excited that this is the first father-son combos. Rey Mysterio, I've made it no secret, is my favorite wrestler of all time. But it's just something about the Usos that I'm like, they are by hands down, right? My favorite tag team currently, right? And if I was to say like of all time, I may have to put them like number 3, number 4, because I just feel like when they work solos, they do incredible, right? And they're both gifted on the mic. But when they work together, it's just this explosion that I have never seen in wrestling before. And I have to continually be like, dude, like these guys can elevate other talent, they can get themselves over, and they know exactly where to be for like every little spot. And they're always and you never see it coming. And you're always like, man, they're just so good at everything they do. And I don't know, man. It's just for me to put over, like, I guess it's my way of putting over the Usos, even though they don't really need me to validate anything that they've done. They're just an incredible talent. And I know we've had some people talk about it, like the greatest wrestling tag teams ever, and the Young Bucks were like always going to be talked about, as well as the Usos. And I just feel like, and I said this on the show, I think I told this to Danny Joles when he was a special guest on with us as well, that if you took the Usos out of WWE and you put them into AEW, they're in the top three, if not the top team of the whole thing. Like, I mean, yeah, you got FTR, you have the Young Bucks, you have, Jungle Express is up there as well. You have Santana and Ortiz. And then if you put the Usos in there, that's just like, God, like this fire, like, tag team division that's just going to burn every other division to the ground. Sorry, welcome to my TED Talk. Are you back?
Okay, sorry about that. But no, I totally agree with you. I think I would put them in the same boat, like the Usos, as like well, how I compare AJ Styles. I feel like with the Usos, you can put them in a ring with anyone. You can put them in the ring with me with zero experience, and they can make a good match out of it. Like they just know how to make a good match with whoever they're put up against. Like, plain and simple.
Oh yeah. Going into our number 6 match. This was probably another one of my favorite matches to watch and to talk about. It was MSK versus Legado de Fantasma on NXT. Those guys, MSK, man, like, I know the Rascals, right? We know, if you're watching Impact, you know who the Rascals are. But MSK, man, like, since coming over to NXT, have just torn the house down night after night after night. And I have to be honest, like, I don't see like I don't want them to go to main roster, right? And I say that because right now the ceiling isn't, they're just a nightmare for every other team, but they tell such incredible stories, like, in the ring.
Yeah, no, I definitely I love MSK. They are just so much fun to watch. Like, they are I've been able to see them live. I've been able to film one of their matches a couple years back, and they're just so entertaining. Like, it's hard to like it was hard for me even just to watch them live and like try to do a job, but at the same time watch a match and be a fan. Like, they're absolutely incredible, and I see a lot of bright things in their future in the WWE.
Yeah, I have to agree. So we're gonna move into number 5, right? So I'm not even gonna list all everybody in this match. It was just Jungle Boy winning the 21-man battle royal, right? It was cool to see him and Christian right at the end. Obviously, Matt Hardy and Private Party were there as well. But yeah, Jungle Boy winning it all. Like, I'm just a fan of Jungle Boy. Like, he's so cool.
Yeah, shout out to Jungle Boy, another guy from the California scene that we got to watch grow into what he is now. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, as someone who's been able to witness like him working in our California independent scene to what he's doing now, yeah, I shed a tear a little bit for that, and I hope the best for him. And also, it was cool to see him go against one of my favorite wrestlers, which is Christian Cage. But also, shout out to Lio Rush for being the surprise. I will admit, I wish he was in there longer, but other than that, like, it was a cool surprise as it was.
Big shout outs to Leo for signing with New Japan, by the way. Like that announcement coming out, I was mad. I was like, oh snaps, it's going down. So
Yeah,
big ups to him.
He's great. He's great. I hope I don't know if you've seen in the independent scene, but he's been doing another character, Blackheart Leo Rush. Oh my god, I hope he brings that like at least out there to a bigger crowd, and I think people are really going to enjoy that style of what he does as Blackheart.
Yeah, I like it. I saw him with who was he running with over WrestleMania weekend? Was it Blake?
It was Jordan Oliver.
Yeah, with Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I've only seen him do it twice.
He went in with Jordan.
He did it with Blake Christian.
Yeah, Blake Christian. That's the other one I was looking for. Yeah. It was so cool. I like the fact that he had like the massive black eye contacts. I was like, that's a nice touch.
I think when he came out for that WrestleMania weekend, he came out with like a dude. Some dude was like he was like a contortionist coming out to his entrance first, and it was just really unique. It's definitely a spectacle that everyone needs to check out. I hope one day everyone will get to see Blackheart Lio Rush.
So we're going to move into number 4. This was the opener for Double or Nothing. Let's be real. It was a fire match. So Hangman Page versus Brian Cage at Double or Nothing. Just I couldn't say anything anymore about this match. So if you guys haven't seen it, you guys need to. Just the fact that we saw Hangman Page go out there and handle business against Brian Cage was super cool.
Yeah, for me, I just hope this eventually leads to that Brian Cage face turn. I'll probably talk to him next week and see, but he probably won't tell me anything. But still, I'll ask. It's better to ask and try to find out. But the match was great. You could tell people fucking love Hangman Page. And I'm telling you, I'm going to say it again. Give it about a year. He's going to be a world heavyweight champion in AEW. I'm guaranteeing that. But also shout out to Brian Cage. I think the face turn will do really well for him.
I agree. So we're going to jump into number 3. This was the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle Stadium Stampede. Dave obviously said it himself. This was his favorite match because he loves gimmick matches. I love this match too because I thought it was a lot of fun. I love the storytelling about everybody having their own individual storylines that all tied together into this final matchup. Well, I don't say final, but into this matchup. I just liked it. It was great.
Yeah, who knew that Daly's Place had a nightclub going on during that event, and for some reason Conan is working part-time as a DJ. Who knew?
Conan's the DJ.
But it was great. I love it. And then you have Wardlow and Hager working a match in a refrigerator that obviously had fake hanging pigs, because I'll tell you, I've worked at a stadium in my previous career, and I promise you, no one in food services hand makes like their food.
No, and it
Other
you know
than
what's
that, it was a
funny?
great match. It was a great match.
I saw the pigs hanging there, and I was like, I bet those taste delicious because it looked like you know how people have like the gels just like gummy bears, right? They looked like gummy bears. I was like, you kind of look like something that I would just eat for fun. Like, I don't know why, but I was like, I definitely can test that this looks like gummy bears and I just want to eat one. So let's jump into number 2.
I knew it would.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was saying, yeah, you could obviously tell that it was not real, but it was definitely a fun visual.
So let's jump into number 2. Let's be real, man. This is a match. I know Chaz is throwing up right now, here in his back. It was Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy and Pac. Let's be real, Double or Nothing. This triple threat match had everybody on their seats because you thought anybody at any time could win this match. And really, a lot of people got behind Orange Cassidy, and they're like, man, I really think he's gonna win. And obviously he didn't. But the believability that Orange Cassidy was gonna win this match, I was all on my seat too.
Yeah, it's, as a huge Orange Cassidy fan, I hope one day the internet explodes when he becomes the world heavyweight champion. It's going to piss off a lot of people, and it almost happened. And I I hope one day it does happen. But that match, man, it had me on the edge of my seat. It was one of my favorites, and to be honest, I will say this: it should have been the main event.
Yeah, it really should have. And I think too, what's funny is that like when you get towards it, like the way looking back on it, that it kind of was the main event for people because like obviously like the Stadium Stampede was like filmed for the most part, and then you had like the live interactions and stuff like that afterwards. But yeah, I really like this match a lot, and I really wished it would have just headlined the show, because then you had left with people pissed off because they're like, what the hell, man? Like, how did Kenny win? But let's get into our number 1 match of the week, and that would have been Britt Baker versus Akira Shida. And let me be honest, man, it was time for Britt Baker to win. It was time for Britt Baker to win this title. She's been tearing down the house for the last year. And I know a lot of people had different opinions about it. I don't really worry about it. To me, like, she deserved this, and she got all the praise that she earned all the praises that she got for this match too. So big ups. I really love the fact that Britt won, and yeah, that's my top match for the week.
Yeah, there were so many like certain spots where I was like, okay, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. Someone's gonna win this match, and it just kept going and going and going. Honestly, like, wow, it was incredible. It was a good feeling to watch Britt Baker win that title. And honestly, I'll even admit that touch at the end where, Tony Schiavone went on stage and waited for her, gave her a big old hug. I think it was great. They had a cool little storyline going on as well. So I really do like the friendship that they had. But I will say, Britt Baker, I need that coupon for that Big Mac. Okay. All right, I'm on a budget right now, and I need that damn coupon for that Big Mac. All right, I better see it in my mailbox. Other than that, it was a great match.
Yo, I do. I need that coupon. I really do.
I need me a Big Mac. I need me a Big Mac.
I need 3 of them. Okay, so I have a family to feed too. Okay, so let me get those. But that is the Red Dogs Power Rankings. You guys see Britt Baker versus Sheeta was the top match. And that kind of like starts to wrap everything up. So, with that being said, it's time to go home. And Dave, why don't you let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you?
I'm just kidding. No.
Don't follow me. I don't need what are you, Biggie? I don't need your follows.
I don't need your pity follows. But no, I actually do need your pity follows, please. I'm trying to get to 10. I'm trying to get to at least 1,000 either on my Instagram or my Twitter, so I can start putting out some merchandise, like pretty much how you have your beautiful merchandise in the background, which you guys should probably go pick that up as well. See, there you go. Checks in the mail. So make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's at King of Vlogstyle. Once again, it is at King of Vlogstyle. You could even check out my YouTube channel where I do post vlogs of the local wrestling events that I do film, which is Vlogstyle, a wrestling channel. So go check that out. And again, one of the main things I do want to push onto my Twitter account and my TikTok and my Instagram is please go check out the highlights. I do 1-minute highlights for local wrestling events. And I'll be out in Vegas next week for on June the 12th. It's going to be main event. It's going to be the Super Beast versus Brian Cage at the Super Beast compound. For more information, just go to King of Vlogstyle and I'll give you everything you need to know to go to it.
Definitely. And also, Dave, there's something else I want to kind of bring up. I'm sorry, I probably should have told you this too. It is Pride Month. So, we definitely want a big shout outs to all of our people that are part of the LGBTQ plus community because, y'all matter to us just like everybody else matters to us. We just, want to throw our love and support behind you guys and let you know that, if you ever need someone to just be an ally or someone to just kind of like bounce things off of, hey, we're here for it.
Yeah, I really do thank you guys for your support. This past couple of days, like, of me kind of like, I guess I've always known about my preference as someone who is pansexual. I know what I like, I know who I like, whatever and everything, but I've never fully have come out like that to people. I made it very vague and simple at the end. Like it only took a few seconds for me to say it, but I'm very happy with the support and the people who have mentioned about it that, we just want to, I just want to do my thing. I just want to represent who I am and know that there are people out there, even at me. I'm 31 years old, barely coming out. And the thing is, I want to make you know that no matter what age you are, how young, how old you are, don't be afraid. We're all here for you. We're all here to love and support everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And it was funny because like I felt like I kind of had to explain myself a little bit because like on your TikTok video, we were talking about some kid. And I had put up there, I was like, yeah, I'm part of the problem. And you're like, excuse me? And I was like, no. That's not how I mean. What I mean is that I felt like one of the other dudes on TikTok that I always have to reply. I was like, no. Because he said that we're part of the problems if we support this. And I was like, so very much. I was like, yeah, I could definitely see how this would be crossed wrong.
I when you said that, I didn't understand at first. Yeah, I really didn't understand when you were like, oh, I'm part of the problem. I was like, wait, are you the problem of like not liking it, or are you the problem of saying that you're coming out too? I was like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, no. I will be honest, when people tell me like I'm straight, like I've been married for the last 10 years, going on 11. So definitely, but I definitely support all my friends in all their decisions. And I've openly said it, like whether you're gay, you're straight, you're trans, you're bi, wherever you are in your life, like hey, can you be a productive person? cool. Then I don't care what you do with your life. I don't care. Like just be happy and be you. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be unfollow me on a lot of stuff because I said that, but I don't really care. Like at the end of the day, I want my friends to be happy. And Dave, you and I feel like we've kind of had like this cool, like this is the first time that we've actually talked, by the way, to anybody out there. But we're always
Very
chatting
thankful.
on
Very
TikTok.
thankful.
We're always chatting.
Yeah, I love it. People like trust me. At I think at the age that we are at, we thought that TikTok was like for kids. But man, it's the most interactive. It's TikTok, and it's honestly, I'm very thankful for being a part of it. So, and I've met a lot of great people, including you. So I'm very, very thankful. So thank you for having me on this show.
Yeah, bet. So you guys know what to do because this is the end of our show. And yeah, check out our next episode and be there or be somewhere else.
Hey guys, it's the host of the 3 Count, Chaz Evans here. Make sure to let you know that I don't run shit, I don't do shit, I just talk shit. And make sure you subscribe to our podcast. What else did you do? You should also follow us on all social medias. That's the Facebook at 3 Count Podcast, the Instagram at 3 Count Pod, and the Twitter at 3Count_pod. Also, if you like us a lot, you should definitely buy a t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/3countpod, and that's the number 3. Don't be an idiot and type in THREE, because you're not going to find anything. So make sure you follow us at 3 Count Pod or 3Count_pod on Twitter and buy a shirt. Be there or be somewhere else.